For almost all of human history, power was a simple equation. If you wanted to rule, you needed land to grow food, a castle to hide in, and an army to kill anyone who tried to take it. But 1,000 years ago, one city broke that rule so completely that it shouldn't have existed at all. Venice had no land, no farmers, and no knights. It was a collection of mud huts built on wooden stakes driven into a swamp. By all logic, it should have been wiped off the map in a week. Instead, it became the master of the known world. It didn't do this with soldiers or conquerors. It did it with a weapon that nobody else understood, a weapon that is currently controlling your life right now. They didn't just invent a new way to trade, they invented the invisible architecture of the modern financial world. And the scariest part? They discovered that the most powerful force on earth isn't gold or steel, it's debt. To understand how a swamp defeated empires, you have to look at the map. In the medieval world, land was everything. Land meant peasants, peasants meant taxes, and taxes meant armies. But Venice was built in a lagoon. It was a defensive nightmare for invaders because ships couldn't navigate the shallow waters. But it was also an economic nightmare for the locals. You can't farm salt water. Feudalism, the system that ran the rest of Europe, was physically impossible there. So the Venetians were forced to do something radical. They decided that if they couldn't own the land, they would own the movement between lands. They became the middlemen for the entire planet. Spices from the east, silver from the west, everything had to pass through their hands. But being a middleman is dangerous when your neighbors are giant empires with massive armies. This is where the story takes a sharp turn. In 1082, the Byzantine Empire was crumbling and needed help. Venice offered their navy, but not out of charity. They demanded a document that changed history, the Golden Bull. It gave Venice tax-free trading rights across the entire empire. Suddenly, Venetian merchants could undercut everyone. They stopped being subjects of the empire and became the logistics engine that kept the empire alive. Byzantium didn't realize it until it was too late. But they had handed over the keys to their economy. Venice realized early on that you don't need to sit on the throne to have power. You just need to be the guy the king borrows money from. And once you have that leverage, you can rewrite the social laws of civilization. In the rest of Europe, making money was considered dirty. The nobility fought wars and owned land. Merchants were looked down upon as greedy schemers. Venice flipped the script. They didn't have a king or a landed gentry. The people who owned the ships and managed the risks were the government. They created an aristocracy of balance sheets. In Venice, if you were poor, you were invisible. If you were rich, it was proof of your competence. This removed the shame from profit. Since the rulers were merchants, they didn't write laws to protect honor or glory. They wrote laws to protect contracts. They turned the entire state into a corporation designed to generate yield. But as they got richer, they ran into a problem that destroys most empires. How do you pay for war without bankrupting the people? Most kings handled war debt by looting their own citizens or borrowing money and then executing the banker so they didn't have to pay it back. Venice did something that sounds insane. They forced their wealthy citizens to loan money to the state, called prestiti. But here is the genius part. They paid regular interest on it. Suddenly, paying taxes wasn't losing money. It was an investment. The wealthy elite didn't hate the government for taking their gold. They needed the government to survive so they could keep getting their interest payments. This created a level of loyalty that no other nation could match. The citizens weren't just subjects, they were shareholders. If Venice fell, their wealth vanished. This bound the population to the state in a way that modern governments are still trying to replicate today. But moving all this wealth around was dangerous. Hauling chests of gold across the ocean is asking to be robbed by pirates or sunk by storms. Venice solved this by virtually eliminating physical money. They established the Banco di Rialto in 1587. Instead of handing over coins, merchants would walk into the bank and the banker would simply adjust the numbers in a massive ledger. Gold didn't move. The ownership of the gold moved. It was the first time money became information rather than metal. This increased the speed of trade exponentially. While the rest of the world was weighing coins and checking for counterfeits, Venice was moving millions in wealth with the stroke of a pen. They realized that money is nothing more than a shared belief system, and as long as nobody checks the vault at the same time, the system works. However, there is a dark side to this kind of stability. Venice became so obsessed with protecting their wealth and their system that they stopped taking risks. The aristocracy of balance sheets locked down the government. They passed laws making it impossible for new families to join the ruling class. They became conservative, terrified of anything that might rock the boat. When trade routes shifted to the Atlantic, Venice refused to adapt. They had perfected their system, but they forgot that the world changes. The machinery of trust they built eventually turned into a cage. They didn't collapse in a fiery explosion. They slowly suffocated under the weight of their own bureaucracy and caution. The legacy Venice left behind is the water we swim in today. Look at Wall Street, the bond market, the way governments borrow trillions to keep the lights on. It's all Venetian architecture. We live in a world where power isn't about land or armies, but about credit ratings and interest rates. We trust numbers on a screen more than we trust gold in our hand. But the lesson of Venice is a warning. Systems built on trust are incredibly efficient, but they are also fragile. When the incentives to innovate die, the system doesn't just stop working, it becomes a relic. Venice proved that you can buy the world with debt and ledgers, but it also proved that you can lose it all just by refusing to change. The question isn't whether the system works, it's what happens when the people stop believing in the math.